Okay, so I went into this in a very short Insta video, but I wanted to make a much longer video where I provided a lot more context. Now, there is so much context for this story that there's really not any way to cover it in a reasonably length video without like PowerPoints and presentations and images you can look at. But very quickly, as quickly as I can, I'm going to explain that Biden is from what's known as the silent generation. Now, the silent generation was born between 1928 and 1945. Biden was born in 1942. This matters because I need you to align this with concepts like the Nakba, the establishment of the state of Israel. I want you to like consider this with the end of the war. Like think of these age ranges, right? Now, I also want you to think about the fact that the silent generation was raised very fiercely with the concepts of don't complain, do your duty. Listen to your elected officials because they've been elected by the people. You have to listen to them. You have to support them. You have to support America, right? And then the third one is be fiercely patriotic. Like, have you noticed that Biden gets into this like state whenever he's asked about like supporting our allies? He gets like almost like a peacock. He's like, of course we can handle this. We're America. Yeah. I am I'm a leader of the free world, guys. And it's a peacock show, right? Like he's just kind of strutting around like trying to show off how cool he is. And it makes sense in context of when he was raised and how he was taught to exist in this world. Now he is the leader of the free world. And if you've noticed, whenever you see a video of protesters confronting Biden, he always has this completely like, whoa, look on his face. And that's because he's from the silent generation. This idea that the people are against him is kind of horrifying to him. What are you talking about? How can you charge me with genocide? I'm supporting our allies. What are you talking about? I'm a good guy. And the thing is, we're never the bad guy of our own story. That's something that everyone really needs to internalize. Okay, there are some forms of mental illness where you are consistently the bad guy in your own story, but that's something you should be talking about with your therapist. But anyway, back to Biden's mental illness. So he's been taught to be fiercely patriotic. He's been taught to be this beacon of leadership, this symbol of the free world. And he's playing that role as best as he knows how, right? He's doing his best. He's trying to portray. I mean, he almost looks like a Republican right now, right? Like he's just so pompous and yes, we can support our allies. We can afford this war. We're so powerful. We're America. And it's such a show. But that's the point, is that in his generation, that's how you were a politician. It was all about the show. It was never about truth. It was never about fulfilling your promises. It was always about being able to produce that smiling leader to the crowd that they believe that you can save them. Okay, now let's get to the state of Israel. If you're a small child during the Nakba and you're not directly experiencing the Nakba, in fact, you're all the way in the United States, how do you think it's going to get reported? People voluntarily leaving? I'm pretty sure I've heard that, right? So here's the point, is that you as a child aren't going to understand what happened. You as a child aren't going to understand the horrible conditions that were being imposed on Palestine, right? You would only be told, support your country and we support Israel. But why do we support Israel? Like, if America and UK were the good guys, why were we giving them the state of Israel? Why are we paying reparations, right? Well, see, that's the thing. Most Americans were pretty Nazi, and that was pretty common, actually. The idea that most of the world wasn't anti-Semitic at that time is just delusional. Like, there was a huge wave of anti-Semitism going through the world at that time period, and it wasn't just Germany. It wasn't just America. It was the whole world was really against Jewish people at that point. And so when we think about how this script would be flipped, like to be the good guys, we have to support Israel. This is like a get out of jail free card. And you see white people do this during Martin Luther King Day, where like even the most racist aunt that you know is going to post some quote by MLK about holding hands with people of other races, and they're going to feel very progressive about it because we don't ever think that we're racist, right? Like, I'm not racist. I love everyone, right? I mean, unless you give me a reason to hate you, and then like I'm going to be kind of nervous around you. We're all racist. We all need to identify our biases and address them. That's not the point. The point is it was a get out of jail free card. As long as we swear unwavering allegiance with Israel, then we don't have to worry about anything else. We're the good guys because we saved the Jews. And it's creating this fetishization of Jewish people in the same way that Zionism uses Jewish people as cannon fodder. Like it manipulates people into this space of, oh, so you're not agreeing with me, you're clearly anti-Semite. Like, no, I'm saying that you shouldn't be killing Palestinians without any kind of hesitation. Like the AI targeting isn't working. Why are you still using it? Right? Because it's a genocide. And because we're willing to call it out because the younger people are willing to mobilize, we're willing to connect with each other and talk about this. And as we connect and talk, we realize, holy crap, I've experienced genocide, your family experienced genocide, your family experienced genocide, their family experienced genocide. And when we're telling the stories with each other, oh my God, it's the same stories. Wow, how crazy, especially when they're all done by the Americans. What's up? You've given us all the same origin story, all the same experience of genocide. And so when we start talking, we give each other tools to heal. We give each other strength because we see where we could be and where we've been in our unhealed community members. We see all of this, and so we're willing to fight for Palestine because we see the humanity of Palestine, whereas the older generations have been taught since they were very young, don't look over there. If there's two of them, they'll still be trying to kill each other. They're just violent. They hate each other. They're always going to try to kill each other. Like this racist rhetoric, don't look, turn away. It doesn't matter. You can't do anything anyway. And that's a major difference with Americans now, the younger generations, compared to the older generations. Like, we're not willing to just look away. Because every time I open Instagram, I see it. And when I don't see it when I open Instagram, I'm horrified because I'm worried that they're suppressing it or that there's another media blackout. And in a couple of days, I'm going to see something beyond fucking imagining, right? When we talk about this unquestioning support for Israel, there is so much behind it. A lot of people have already talked about the Zionism aspect, but I just want to focus purely on the concept of the generational differences, but also this manipulation, because like we do have to acknowledge that even though they are responsible for their actions, you can't fight manipulation that you didn't know was there. When you're told your whole life, this is how you're a good person, they believe, really truly, that's how you're a good person. So be gentle with your elders as you try to educate them. Like, I know how fruitless it feels, but showing patience, showing compassion, showing the images that people are going through helps. Don't forget, make sure to submit videos to the ICC. Make sure to download the BDS app. No thanks. It's on Google Play. I've been checking for it for YouTube, and I have not seen Apple, and I haven't seen it yet. I'm not clipping that. This is the very end of the video. If you made it this long, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. If you have questions, feel free to ask them, and I will address them in future videos. So until then, free Palestine, let's go. Indigenous revolution.